everyone, welcome to DNA. Today our special guest is Tian. He worked at investment banking for a few years and now he's working in healthcare investment. So as we know, investment banking has been a really popular career choice, especially for college and MBA graduate students. So today we are going to talk about what it's like to be an investment banker. I don't know how many of our fans have watched the movie Equity. It's a movie from 2016, I think.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah? So it tells a story about a woman in investment banking trying to climb the ladder in her career while facing a lot of challenges from competitors, colleagues, boyfriend, friends. I have to say it's a very tough life to live.
Well, it's not just in banking, right? I mean, in consulting it's the same issue as well.
Well, yes, we can talk about the comparison between banker and consultants later. And I know you've been a consultant before, so you're a perfect person to tell us the story. Let's dial back to the time when you decided to become an investment banker.
Okay.
Why did you decide to join investment banking?
That was actually a decision already made up before I joined the MBA.
Oh, why? Tell me more.
My first job after college pre the MBA was, as you know, a management consultant.
Yeah.
Spent a little bit of time in China, some time in US. My thinking at the time was I was trying to do something really close to the capital markets. I was trying to do investments in the long term. So I need to learn, be really solid in finance, close to capital markets, knowing what's going on the capital markets. That's why I chose investment banking.
So tell us about the life as an investment banker. What's the day-to-day like?
Well, I don't know what the audience can think of, day-to-day on Wall Street. I believe it's going to be that much different from the audience imagination or observation. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. So
okay,
first of all, it's extremely busy, right? As you can see. It's like a day and night. And usually no weekends. Okay. Right. I was kind of lucky, because my group was kind of like a well-known for doing a good job in maintaining the work-life balance. Yeah, they have some.
And what do you mean by doing well?
One joke is usually that we say we're doing 9-5 job, right? And people usually say 9 a.m. 5 p.m. But when we say 9-5, you need to ask us specifically, is that 5 a.m. or 5 p.m.? Right? There's a difference between the two. And it's extremely busy. As I said, I was lucky. My group was pretty good in lifestyle. Sometime maybe 9 or 10 p.m. Sometime over the midnight. Sometime you have weekends. Yeah, the senior leaders was trying to ensure
it's so
that.
Sad. That's called good. I think that's the standard. You're gonna have weekends.
Well, so that's one thing. It's very busy.
Yeah.
Now, talking about day to day, it really depends on if you're in a deal mode or client service mode, right? If you're working on a deal, then basically you interact with the client on a daily basis, on an hourly basis actually.
By working on a deal, do you mean like by putting together a package for like an IPO or?
Yeah, it could be
M&A.
an IPO, but I think in US, especially in healthcare space, the M&A was very active in the past few years. On the deal, you have to interact with the clients to get what they want, to deliver what they want, and you have a lot of internal meetings. And if you are a sell-side banker, then usually, on a daily basis, you will interact with the different potential buyers, assuming this is not a exclusive situation. And you have to do a lot of groundwork like evaluation, prepare the materials, prepare the data room ready, setting up all the conferences, right? Making sure, I think, net, make sure the process, either sell side or buy side process, to be running smoothly, and you can reach the deadline.
How long is usually a deal process?
Depends. A typical M&A process run anytime between, I would say, 2-3 months to 6-7 months.
Okay.
That's just the time between you really get engaged and you get to announce the transaction.
Gotcha.
There will be further like a closing procedure after you announce the transaction.
Gotcha.
And that even sometimes it takes much longer before you were actually engaging in the deal, because you have to pitch the client, you have to provide certain services to the client.
Gotcha.
Yeah, to provide the ideas, and hopefully some of the ideas will get fruition so that you will get the engagement /
I see. In investment banking, there are different roles from analyst, associate, VP, MD. So how do those people usually divide and conquer?
In banking, typically MD stays on top. You manage the client relationship, right? You talk to the clients. You travel almost every day, I would say. Depends on the industry you cover. MD gets the deal, right? MD sometimes, I would say, very actively engaging in structuring the deal. Below that, you have a VP, we call vice president. VP is basically the day-to-day frontline officer, commander of all, either the live deal or client services. So right, that's VP.
See.
And below that, you usually have like associates and analysts. Usually, you stay in the office and do most of the groundwork. No offense, somebody has to do the groundwork, right? And you learn a lot from the groundwork before you can move up and take more responsibilities.
Gotcha.
So yes, valuation, do the pitch book, do all the research and analysis, make sure the process is going very smoothly. Process management is actually much more important than, I would say, outside-in perspective. It's really the thing in banking, especially during M&A process.
So what are the skill sets that's required to become a successful investment banker while you're in the job?
Wow, that's a very good question. I almost forgot, by the way. Finance knowledge is definitely one of them, including accounting. Accounting is actually very important. Corporate finance, valuation, both from equity and fixed income perspective, right? And different valuation methodology. You have to be very detail-driven, right? Not just on the process, but also the work you are going to deliver. And communication. Communication is actually key because you have to let your team members, your managers, and your clients, most important, to know, what's going on, what you are thinking, and what your advice is, right? In a very effective and efficient way. If you can manage your time in a very effective manner, that's even better because you can probably catch more sleep.
So is it fair to say that physical strength is also a key requirement to be successful in investment banking?
Yes and no. Well, first of all, you have to be healthy in almost all, different kinds of jobs, right? And especially in banking, you have to be, I would say at least, especially mentally, you have to be very durable and, very...
Stay calm all the time.
Stay calm all the time, and you have to stick to what you, want to do, right? And because this is a tough job.
What about the career path? We mentioned the career path within. What about the career path outside of investment banking? What are the different career choices people could have?
Right. I think it really depends on if you are an analyst, meaning pre-MBA, or an associate and above, meaning post-MBA. So if you are an analyst, for example, you're going to step into, either private equity or sometimes maybe secondary markets, investments, hedge fund, as your second job. Typically after that, after the second job, the analyst, you either go to MBA or find some other careers. So that's the analyst career.
Cool.
For the associate and above, you had an MBA, you step into banking. I see even more people staying in banking for a longer period of time. I think most likely it's because you have the MBA, you kind of know what you're trying to do, right, in the long term. So many people stay in the industry for like 10 of years.
Gotcha.
Outside of banking, people can consider going into a corporate, doing some kind of like a corporate development job, or the other choice is to come to become a treasurer.
What would be your advice to be successful in interviews?
I can use myself as an example. I read some books just to get myself prepared. Those financial questions and evaluation, whatever, and you have to polish your interviews. I think practice makes perfect. So especially find those friends around you who used to work in banking before, who can give you a real view of what's going on in banking. As to, well, actually, you're doing an interview too for me, right? Guys, what you just asked me is a very good collection of questions you need to prepare. Why banking? Why this firm? What did you do before? Or something like that.
live a dangerous life because they can be fired on any day.
Oh, right. I would. Can I get this? Is
that true?
Well, yes and no, I would say. Yes, in the piece that, okay, let me put it this way. Banking to me is just like, from investment perspective, it's just like a high beta job. Okay, in good years, yes, it's very good. Probably you can earn a lot of money, but in bad years, like in financial crisis, and lots of people lose their job, right? You don't even know who to blame for, because probably the bank you work for is not there anymore.
High risk, high return
It's
job.
high risk, high return. Yes.
And it's a cycle that's already built in this industry.
It's really cyclical.
Right?
It's really cyclical. Yeah.
Okay, cool. But to your point on the good years, there's also a meme about banker's bonus. So is that true that in a good years, the banker's bonus could be multiple times of their salary?
It didn't happen during my stay in the bank.
There is a meme about the in and out. So you have maybe 2 or 3 years. If you don't get to the next level, you are out. Is that true?
I think that's true for mostly banking and consulting. You mean up or out, right? Right. Usually the analyst like 2-3 years. Associate is 3 to 4 years, depends on different banks. Counting from MBA graduation, it's like 8 or 9 years before you can make it to MD.
Bankers wear suits every day. Where's the hesitation coming from?
Well, none of these can actually, accurately describe what I feel about it. I'm actually kind of like a neutral, so I would say all 3 maybe.
All right.
Yeah, back in my group, so we definitely ties and suits Monday through Thursday.
So Friday is different.
Friday you still have to wear shirts.
I see.
No tie, but unless you have a client meeting. But usually, if Monday through Thursday is ties, even if you're not meeting the client.
But how do you do it in summer?
Summer, it's still shirts.
So hot, Monday to Thursday with suits.
Still suits. Yeah.
Walking on the streets.
And ties.
Oh gosh. Last question, and please don't get offended.
Okay.
It's something I read on Quora. There was a question people raised, and I'm gonna just read it to you. Why are so many people in investment banking arrogant?
Oh, arrogant. Am I look an arrogant person at all? Okay, let me take this and answer. For most of the bankers that I used to work with around me, either when I was in the bank or after I get out of the bank, because I still work with a lot of bankers nowadays. I don't think they're arrogant at all. They're smart, they're sharp, they are hardworking. But I know this is an observation from many of the outside people. Personally, I didn't have any interaction with those arrogant people, if any.
Which is great.
Maybe I'm lucky. Okay, that's why I have this. But again, I can only speak for my own observation.
Gotcha.
I don't see. There must be some people like this in the industry. Okay.
Or could it also be a
small
misinterpretation because the investment banking job, based on your description, it's really tough, and you probably have to be a bit more aggressive in delivering your message in your day-to-day, and in some cases that might translate into arrogance.
Or it could be an exaggeration from a really small group of people in the industry to the mainstream, impression of the industry.
Or from the movies. I think the woman in equity is pretty arrogant. Thank you again for joining us today, Tian. You really helped us to demystify what it's like to be an investment banker. And if you're considering whether or not to join investment banking, hope today's show could help you to make your decision. And if you have more questions, feel free to leave your comments in our page and channel.
All right, I wish everyone success in your pursuit of your investment banking career.
Let's do this tradition together. What it's like to be an investment banker. DNA, get!